Okay guys, so welcome to this class. So here we're going to be learning how to add navigation drawer, to our app, to our main activity. So I got an example of what we'll be expecting. Our navigation drawer is going to look like this, all right? So let's quickly set this up immediately because this can actually take some time. So let's rush it up at once, okay? So the first thing we need to do is to open up the main layout for our activity, for our main activity, all right? So we have some designs there. We're gonna get rid of it. Okay. So to be able to set up our navigation view, you need to bring in our drawer layout. All right. V4 dot widget dot drawer layout. Okay. So I'll copy this and put here. So the next thing we want to do is to change this to field parent. Change this to field parent. And this doesn't need an orientation. Of course, I'll need to set the ID because we'll be needing this inside the app later on. All right. So the ID will be, I'll call it drawer layout. We actually need two layouts, all right? So the first layout that we'll have here is the one that we're going to be using to define our navigation view. It's always very proper, to include a new layout file where you will be having, most of the stuff that you need on your main activity, right? So I'm going to create a new layout and call it include underscore main. So what we'll be doing with this file, we are actually going to, have our design in this particular layout and we'll include it to our main activity layout, all right? So I'm going to have to change this to a coordinator layout. So I have android.support.design dot widget dot coordinator layout. Okay, so I'll copy this and put it here, right? So I'll just remove this and add an ID because we actually will be needing this later on in the app. So add an ID so that we can always reference to it in our main activity. I call it root view. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to add a frame layout. A frame layout is always very useful because it allows you, to layer things above each other, right? So we're going to be making use of frame layout a lot, all right? So I'm going to define a frame layout, of course, add some attributes, layout height, view parent, layout width, view parent, and of course I need to set the background to something dark. All right, so let's quickly rush into our colors as XML and define an ash color that of course we'll be using for most stuffs. All right, so I'll say color name uber ash. Okay, and the value will be hash e2 e2 e2. Okay, so now let's continue with our design. So the background will say at color slash uber ash. All right, so let's just keep it ash so that we'll always know the difference from this and normal white. So let's add a text view. Okay, so that when we include this particular layout file to our main activity, if we can see our text view, then we know that, yeah, everything that we did worked out well. All right, so let's add some attributes. We're going to say android dot layout height, say this are wrap content, android dot layout width, match parent android dot test. We'll just say this as main layout. Very soon we'll still get rid of this text view. Okay, text size let's set this as 20 sp, and android dot gravity, set it to center, and of course android dot layout gravity center. Okay, so we now have this. So let's go back to our main activity layout design and complete our navigation view. So here, to bring in our layout file, the other one we designed, the other one we just created, we say include. So what do we want to include? We want to include a layout file. So we say layout equal to at layout slash include main. All right, so that's basically all we need to do. So before then, it's always best we put this in a container. Okay, so let's add some attributes here. Orientation equal to vertical, match parent, okay, so we copy this, bam. So as you can see, this inclusion is actually working. You can see main layout, and this main layout is actually coming from this particular layout file. Okay, so now we are done with that. Let's go ahead and add our navigation view. So to do that, we say android dot support dot design, let's see it's a navigation view. Okay, so let's add some attributes to this. So the first thing we're going to add will be the ID. Of course we need the ID. So we call this nav view. Okay, another layout height, we match parent android dot layout width. Of course we don't want it to cover the entire place, so 300 is my lucky number when setting navigation drawer. Okay, so the background, let's use white, uber white, and we set it to start. Okay, bam, so we are done. Now the some of the things that we actually need to bring in will now be the header layout. We need a header layout, right? A header layout is this particular section that has our account image and our account name. All right, so to be able to do that, we need to define a new layout. Okay, so we need to add a new layout, especially to serve as the header layout for our navigation drawer. Okay, so let's add this header layout. So quickly, we're gonna change this to frame layout. You guys know why, right? Because we want to layer some items above each other. Okay, so this is always very useful, and our height is we're going to leave it as 200 dp, and our background, the background needs to be white. Under the background is equal to at color slash uber white. So the theme, let's set the theme at style slash theme overlay slash theme overlay. Let's use dark. The reason we are using dark is to ensure that whatever we put on top of the frame layer will actually show. Okay, so I think we are done with that. So the next thing we need to do is to now add our circle image. Guys, we actually use the circle image in early on, when we are designing our login and our registration pages. All right, so you can see that it has sufficed here. All right, so let's bring in some attributes. So Android.id, going to call it account image. Layout height will be equal to, say, 100 dp, and layout width will be equal to 100 dp, and layout gravity will be equal to center. So now the resource file that we're going to be using, the image we're going to be displaying here, okay, which is this. So guys, I would advise that you head down to the resources for this particular lecture. I've added every single image and icon that you'll be needing. So I have mine on my desktop, so I'll just go ahead and add it from there. All right, so existing item. So on my desktop, I have it at lecture 21 resources. Okay, so add it, accounts png. So now that I've added the image, we're going to reference it as our source. So android.src will be equal to at drawable slash account center crop. Okay, so let's quickly add our text view that will display the account name. That's, if my name is Ufinix, then my name should be showing when I log into the app. All right, so android.id, I'll call this account title, right? So android.layout height will be equal to wrap content. My layout width will be equal to match parent, and of course my gravity will be center, and my layout gravity will be bottom, and my test will be username. Okay, so of course I need to add some margin to the bottom so that it won't just get too close to the ending part. It needs to be somewhere around here, right? So let's add some margin, layout margin bottom. I'll just add 12 dp. Okay, so that looks good. So guys, if you notice, there is a very tiny line here, right? So this line is so beautiful, so I want to add it here. So we'll do that with a view. Use a view. So let's get some attributes. So layout height will be equal to 1 dp, and layout width will be equal to match parent, and Android layout gravity will be bottom, and of course the color, that's the background will be equal to at color slash uber ash. All right, as you can see, it's showing off here. So guys, this is all we need to do here. So now we need to head back to where we are designing our navigation view, and add our header layout. So header layout will be equal to layout header layout. Okay, so which is exactly what we have here, header layout. Okay, so now we are done with that. The next thing we need to do is to create our menu. All right, so what you guys are seeing here, we need to create as a menu. So to do that, we'll go to our menu folder in our resources. Since we don't have a menu folder, so we create one and call it menu. So let's add a new menu XML, all right? So this is a menu. So we call it nav menu, all right? Bam. So it has been created for us. So guys, let's go ahead and add our menu, okay? So we don't need this. Let's get rid of this item. So the first thing we want to do is to create a group. So I want it to be grouped. So inside of the group, I'm going to add, so we have profile, payment, history, promo, help, and about. So let's add, the first one, which is profile. Okay, so android.id slash nav profile. So I'm gonna call it nav profile. The title will be profile. So guys, we need to set the icons, but first of all, let's define all of them and we'll get to that point. So item for the second one, the second item will be payment. So Android ID. So instead of doing this, we could just copy this to make it shorter for us. So change this to nav payments. So we change this to nav history, and change this to history. So we change this to nav promo, and change this to promo. So we change this to nav help, and change this to help, and we change this to about. So that's exactly what we have here. So guys, the next thing we need to do is to bring in our icons. So like I said before, I've already put in all the icons that you need for this inside the resource for this lecture. So you can just go ahead and download it and add it. So let me just show you guys how to add this. All right, okay. So I open the resources. So for the first one, which is profile, we'll be using persons, okay? So what we need to do is to add the images inside each of these folders to the corresponding MIPMAP folders in our Visual Studio, okay? So the first one, for example, this is for HDPI, okay? So we copy it and place it inside our MIPMAP HDPI folder, and that has been added. So we do that for the second one, which is MDPI. So copy it and put inside of MDPI. So SHDPI, I paste it. This XSHDPI. So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give us a few minutes, okay? Instead of me staying and boring you guys, doing it one after the other, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to go over that, okay? So I want you guys to add every single icon that we have here, just the way I've showed you guys, okay? So I'm going to give you 3 minutes and I'm going to come back so we continue. Of course, it won't be up to 3 minutes. Hello. Hello, so welcome back. So who finished first? Of course, I did mine first. All right, guys, so let's continue. So we want to reference the icons. We want to add the icons now, okay? So to do that, we say Android or icon. Of course, they are in the MIPMAP folder. So we say MIPMAP at MIPMAP slash IC person action, okay? So for payments, I think I have action. Okay, so instead of having to, go over the whole thing over and over, history action, I see promo orange. Okay, promo orange. As you can see, we want this to have, this orange view. Okay, so we got to make it checked. If not, it wouldn't show up. Set that to true. Okay, so the next one is action, and the last one, help action. So guys, this is it. So what we need to do is to go back to our activity, our navigation view design, and we're going to add the menu. So we're going to say app menu, add menu slash nav menu. Okay, so guys, this is it. So we're supposed to make this to fit system windows, okay, so that it will get to the top. So I think we're done now. So what we need to do is to run this and ensure that everything is fine. Okay, so guys, let's check out. Okay guys, so I think we have some errors, so let's look at what happened here. Okay, so let's click this. So first of all, let's go to our header layout. It seems there are some errors here. Was not well formed. Okay, so this is where our mistake is. So that will take care of that. Okay, so let's run this again and see. Let's build this and see. Okay, so I think the last thing is in our activity, we defined this button before and we got rid of it. So let's just get rid of it entirely. Okay, so I think we are now done. So let's run this. Okay, so we still got this error. Okay guys, so what I did to get rid of the error was I deleted, our header, which initially was header layout. So I decided to rename it to nav header. Okay, I think, it's kind of giving the issues or something. All right, so that's what I did, and I copied my code, the former code, and then pasted it here, and everything, looks fine and okay to me. All right, so if you've done that, the next thing to do is to ensure that you set your nav header, to the header layout. If you've done that, the last thing we need to do is to go to our splash screen. We want it to start immediately from main activity. We don't want to, log into Firebase and all those things. Okay, so now let's run it. And I also want to mention this. Okay, you can run yours and get some error. If you get any error, like, any error, any unusual error, guys, so what to do is ensure you clean the project. Okay, clean the project, and after you're done cleaning, you rebuild. Okay, in that way it will get rid of, all the errors that you possibly might have. But for now, let's run it and see this in action. So our app is coming up in a jiffy. Okay, bam. So guys, so these are main layouts. So if we slide from here out, so this is this is the menu. Something is wrong, so our text is not showing. So let's go ahead and resolve that. But these ones are showing very well, and we need to make this color to come out as our accent color. Okay, so let's do that quickly. Okay guys, so this is what we have for our text view. So everything is fine now, right? So what I did was to add some colors to text view, and I think everything is okay. So like I said, the next thing we need to do is to make our, I want this to be orange. So to achieve that, we more like need to define a new style. Okay, so we'll go to our style.xml and define a new style. This style will be very special for our navigation view. Okay, so let's call this navigation style. Right, so we're gonna use accent color for all of it, right? We're gonna use accent color for all the color attributes. Okay, so let's go back to our, let's copy this. So now let's go back to our navigation view. So this is just a shorthand way of achieving that. So we say app.theme, app.theme equal to add style slash navigation style. All right, so that's that. So let's run it and see what we have. So our app is building. Okay, so our app is being deployed. Okay, okay, good. So let's test this. Bam. So guys, as you can see, this is our navigation view. It's so beautiful. Now in the next class, guys, let's get rid of this, this action bar here. We want to make it transparent. So guys, see you in the next class.